Hi, my name is Steve Young. I'm principal at W.R. Castle Elementary School in Johnson County. Just a little bit of background about our school. It's an older school. It was built in 1963 and has had several renovations over the years. We service about 375 students. 70% to 73% are free and reduced lunch kids. We have a large community that we serve here. Included in our community are two low-income housing facilities, which we get a lot of our students from. Um, Overall, testing-wise, we do very, very well traditionally. We've been a distinguished school since they started doing that program. Uh, Last year, we were awarded a five-star school status, and our overall state testing was 17th in the state in elementary school, so we were very proud of that. We also have a excellent athletic program and an excellent academic program. And our academic team is pretty young this year, so we're excited about what they can do in the upcoming years. The community we service, like I said, we work very closely with it. A lot of my teachers, including myself, were students here when we were in elementary school, and it is a really tight-knit community. Which is one of the things that I absolutely love about being the principal here. So we have families and generations of students that go through this school. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. What we did was originally we wrote our grant proposal for focusing on RTI and gifted and talented. However, at the beginning of this school year, our district office decided to focus a little bit more on RTI than what they'd done in the past. And it was working really well at the time that we made our final decision on our proposal. We also added a gifted and talented person who had worked with gifted and talented on our staff as our art teacher. And by consolidating that here, listen, she took off with that program. And so it was really two programs that I originally wanted to fix, that when it came down to it, we didn't need fixing. And so the people down at KVEC were very gracious and allowed us to kind of move our focus from RTI and gifted and talented to a problem that we found, which was student daily attendance. And when I say student daily attendance, we're still in pretty good shape. We were in the, in the 92% or somewhere in that neighborhood. But traditionally in Johnson County, we have one of the lower attendance schools, usually by 1 or 2 points. But I think out of the 5 elementary schools, we ended up 5th like the last 3 years in a row. So that was a problem for us. Even though it was still pretty high, it was one of those things that we felt like we could improve on. We can go to the next slide. All in all, this year, of course, we had the 2 bouts of flu. We were out quite a bit for illnesses, and then this most latest illnesses with the COVID-19. It's been hard to track attendance, but overall, it worked pretty well. Previously, like I said, we'd been ranked 5th out of the 5 elementaries, and this year we ended up ranking 3rd in our elementaries. We were higher on district average by 0.1%, which we had always been. Traditionally, we'd been below as much as even a whole full percentage point. So that kind of bodes well for what we were doing. We can go to the next slide. We did feel like there was a significant impact on the student body. One of the things that we did that I really loved, and we'd always tried to focus somewhat on student learning and on attendance, but we really, really pushed it this year. We have family meetings every 2 weeks on Fridays. And that was one of the things that we really pushed in that, and we tried to make it important to our kids. And with an elementary school, it's difficult because a lot of times it's not the kids' fault that they miss. And so it's hard to put pressure on the kids because the truth is it's really not their fault. A lot of times it's the parents. And so we had to make it a positive thing for our kids. And we found that the best thing that we did was actually do things every single week. And so if you had perfect attendance for the week, we did something for you. One week it was we gave you a pencil, and the next week it was we gave ice cream sundaes. And the next week we would do a pack of Skittles. But every single Friday, either myself or my assistant principal, we would go around and make sure. And it wasn't something that we had to really, really watch numbers. We just asked the teacher. We'd go in, how many kids did you have perfect attendance this week? Teacher say, well, I had 14. Well, here's 14 of this. We also did extra time in PE class. We also did extra time on recess, and we allowed me and my assistant would kind of keep an eye on that. So it gave our teachers, it wasn't a big burden on their shoulders as well. And we know that in education, you got to look and see how much bang you get for your buck. And so there wasn't a lot of investment that we had to do front loading this. It kind of took care of itself. And the kids were super excited. I would make a big deal out of it on announcements and say, we've got a surprise for you this week. And a lot of times we wouldn't tell them what that surprise was. So it kind of built that anticipation, which really worked very, very well for us. We'll go to the next slide and I'll show you what our attendance has like originally. So here's our attendance trend data, and this is what we used as the bulk of our data. And you can see that all the way back to 2014, we were 92.1. See, our district average there is 93.2. Now, that is just our elementary schools included in that. As we know, middle schools and high schools typically have lower attendance. So we wanted to take them out of the mix and just kind of judge us versus the rest of the elementary schools. So 14-15, we were down 0.29. 15-16, down 0.35. 16-17, really a tough year for us. We were down 1.07. And then last year, we were 0.47 down. This year in question, and even though the numbers there, the 91.95 is not super, super high, but when looking at our district average, we were up 0.1 higher than the district average. And I was really proud of that. It's a small gain, but it showed that what we were doing was really kind of working. So we were really excited about that. Now we'll jump to the next two slides there, as we've already done the background of the school. What we previously had done, and a lot of that had worked pretty well. Like I said, we weren't terrible. It wasn't like we were dealing with an 82%. We were dealing with a 92%. As we typically had the board office interventions, we did do star student and leader of the month, and we tied that a little bit more this year to attendance as well. And we always had our family meeting, and we recognized classrooms as attendance winners for upstairs and downstairs. One thing we did last year that helped quite a bit, and we've really focused on it in our family meetings, was we had special lunchroom seating for the class that had the overall best attendance for the last 2 weeks. And so they would get to sit we have round tables. We have 3 big round tables in our cafeteria, and the rest are the typical straight tables. But those 3 round tables, we let the kids sit at those, and we kind of made a big deal out of them. And so that helped out quite a bit. Our PTO had done rewards in the past and done end of the year trips. We were expecting to really kind of move forward with that and do a three absences or less, and a 2 absences or less, and 1 absence, and so on. But we, of course, with the end of the year coming out like it's looking like it's going to be, those trips are going to kind of not work out for us this year. We have done attendance signs outside of classrooms, and I hope our teachers keep track of perfect attendance in their classroom, how many days that their class has perfect attendance, which I really like. It's something that's real simple. It's laminated, and our teachers dry erase marker it. They usually have a kid who is that's their responsibility, is that kid goes out and every day changes it if it needs to be changed, or once a week or whatever. I love the idea that typically I have my homerooms and grades that kind of fight back and forth with it. One will have 28, the other will have 29. And one of the things we added this year was we started recognizing those competitions that they were doing. So this year specifically, we added, of course, we did whole staff input. We kind of built buy-in. We did giveaways and events. One of the things that we gave away was for one of our local restaurants that had a dessert, and we gave every kid who was perfect attendance that week got a dessert. They had to stop in and get it, of course, but that went really well. We also did an attendance dance for the end of 1 week's worth. Like I said, extra gym time. It's been really nice, and it's been one of those things of the kids will come up to you in the hallway now and say, "Hey, Mr. Young, I've had perfect attendance this week. What's this week's going to be?" And if the kids are talking about that, they're telling their parents that. And so as a result, it seems to work out really well. It's been a very positive thing for us. Like I said, and by us focusing on it, we kept it in front of the kids. We kept it relevant, and it went really well. We didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. In fact, I think out of the $5,000, without doing any of the trips at the end that we were hoping to do, we've only spent about $1,000 of it. So hopefully we can do something again like this next year and be able to do this type of thing. And I want it to be something that continues down the road, year in, year out. I think those programs have to be front load, can't be huge in order to get that end result. Because in all honesty, we just don't have enough hours in the day to front load a lot of things like that. But that was our project, and we were kind of successful, all things considered. So if anyone has any questions about it, they can email me at steve.young@johnson.kyschools.us, and I'll be glad to answer any questions anyone has. Thank you.